Hello everyone, just wanted to demo you all a really common misconception I get just because I speak to someone and I had to run through this, so I thought it'd be useful for you to understand and go over this kind of misconception that most people have with footprint charts. In particular, just identifying positions, new positions, positions closing, etc. And what you see on the right hand side is the footprint. So I'll zoom this in a second. But what most people would say, for example, when you see something like this, is you'll see this 16 million on the left, 13 million down here, and you go, those are sales coming in, which is correct. Part one, factually correct. These are sales coming in. The problem is they would go, these are new sales coming in. Okay, that people will be like, there's people shorting down here, right? And that's not necessarily the case, because a sell doesn't always mean it's going to be a new position opening, meaning open interest increasing, with a new sell. So when you see a footprint chart, for example, when you've got the bids and the asks, what you're seeing isn't actually definitely new longs and new shorts only. So how do you get over this, and what are the ways to kind of combat this to some extent? Is the way I like to do it, and I've showed you here, is when you have the text type on bid ask, obviously that's what you're getting. But if we just open this up a little bit here, and we're staying on this example, and we change the text type to open interest removed versus created, this is what I have on this one here, right? So what this is open interest removed versus created. What this is telling me is the clusters and the cluster shading remains exactly the same. Okay, so when you're seeing this down here, that means there's more sales coming in, and when you're seeing green here, this means there's more buys coming in. But instead of going and saying new longs, new shorts, right, what you can then do is look at the text type, because I've got this combination on now where you've got, removed on the left and created on the right. Okay, what you'll see here is that, yes, there was a lot of sales here, but OI at this exact price level actually decreased, okay, because you had, removed was much higher than created, meaning that, yes, there's a lot of sales. Part one is the shading of the cluster, and then using the OI text type to then identify, okay, there's actually more open interest removed. It means that those new sales are likely actually coming out the market. So it's actually longs closing instead of new shorts opening down here, for an example. Again, we can go down here for another example, right? You see aggressive selling down here with this the shading, for an example, and then you go, that was new sales. And in this case, actually, that is the case. Well, more than likely, because what you're seeing here, and this is the closest you can probably get to this, is what you can see here is that the open interest actually increased. And another thing you can do here, just as an advice, you could use this if you want. So you can put zeros, and this is just a net change, so it's a difference between the two. I prefer just to leave it on. Leave this off so you can see the removed versus created rather than just a net change. But so you can see here that there's actually open interest increased at this exact tick region here, meaning that these shorts coming in are actually new shorts. Open interest increased at this zone where the shorts occurred. Here you can see it's fairly balanced. Okay, so you're getting, and you can see here, okay, there's more actually open interest created. So you're not getting this bid ask text type, you're actually getting removed versus created. So you can actually truly identify, okay, whether new longs are coming in or whatever. Because if we just take and pick apart a position here, for example, people might just assume, if we just take this high on the chart, just as an example, people see the break through the level, okay, and they're going, look, there's a lot of buying coming in here. These are new longs coming in and opening. But when you look at, yes, there's buys coming in at this zone here, but open interest is generally actually decreasing, meaning that those buys in terms of the delta clusters are actually shorts being closed, for example, instead of new longs opening. So, you will get positions where you'll get times like this down here, for example, right, where on the flip side, delta negative, but open interest is actually increasing. Again, you have to frame your mind to go closed on the left, removed on the left, created on the right. Open interest is being created at these levels. Positions are opening, right? And that's when you get the negative delta shading showing that these are new shorts coming in. So it works both ways. And this is just the common misconception that, generic bid ask is great, but again, what you're actually seeing here, again, you have more sells than buys, but you don't know what's actually going on here. You don't know if this is longs opening or closing or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's just a common misconception. I wanted to cover that, and I hope you found that all valuable.